now. My name is Russell Mason, Vice President of ASPI and your host for tonight. And just before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to check your devices, make sure they're set to mute to avoid the background noise during the presentations. And if you have any questions during tonight, please type them into the chat function of your Google Meet screen, and our moderator extraordinaire, Adrian Weir, will pose your questions as we go along. So as per the last 2 weeks, we have another group of photographers from SITHOM 2021, and we'll be hearing the stories behind their exhibited images. Talking tonight will be ASPI members Bilal El Masri, Maria Nguyen, Jane Hinwood, and our very own hardworking ASPI president, Sue Brunialti. So I look forward to hearing from tonight's guest. I think that's enough from me, and I'll hand it over to you, Adrian and Bilal.
Mute.
You're on mute, mate.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Russ, and thanks for handing over. And welcome everyone to another ASPI SITHOM Behind the Story series. This has been a great series. I've really enjoyed it over the last 2 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to hearing tonight's story. So our first ASPI member and SITHOM exhibitor that we'll discuss with tonight is Bilal El Masri, or Billy. That's how we go. So how are you, Billy?
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's just start off with a bit about your photographic journey up till SITHOM 2021.
Yeah. So I'm Billy, outside of frames on Instagram. So I started photography almost 7 years ago, and I just loved it, and it did change my life for like a lot, helped me a lot to overcome challenges. And I was fortunate enough to, work in photography and make a living from photography. And I actually started street photography when I came to Australia 3 years ago. When I came here and I saw all these difference, the perspective on life really made me want to shoot street photography. And yeah, I picked the camera, I started to walk around, and I loved it, and I loved the results, and I just started to go more and more and more, and yeah, that's pretty much it with the street.
And was SITHOM 2021 your first exhibition?
Yeah. I actually had a little exhibition with CCP Australia before. I had one photo in there.
Yep, excellent.
Yeah, but
So,
yes, yeah.
So I'll invite Emma to share the screen now and to start bringing your SITHOM 2021 images up, and please share the story behind each image, what you're seeing, what you're thinking, feeling as you're capturing those images.
Yeah, so really love this shot. That was in gallery. I think everyone knows this location. I saw a lot of photos taken there, and yeah, I was walking around, and that was the first time I visited the gallery. And I actually didn't shoot this specific location at the start. I went for for a walk in the gallery for almost like an hour, and I took some nice shots inside, but on the way out I looked down and I saw these, and yeah, it was really nice. This is probably one of the very first shots that really made me happy and proud of the result, and I just still have a lot up. It's really close to me.
No, there's a lot of texture in it. When you actually see the print on the wall, there's a lot of texture, the color, geometry. It's beautiful, mate.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so this is pretty much the story of this shot. I took a few other ones, but yeah, this one just stands out for me.
Yep. Oh, we'll move on to your next image.
Yeah. So this shot, that was on Anzac Day last year during lockdown. so I went to the shrine to take some photos of the event. It was Anzac Day at the shrine, and was lockdown and wasn't really big. And on the way back, I always saw this bridge on Punch Road. I always drove near that bridge, and I loved everything about it. And yeah, that was like almost 7:30 in the morning, and I was driving back home, and I really saw the light was really amazing. So I had to stop, and I actually had to walk like 15 minutes to get to the location, because it's a little bit like it's not easy to get there. And I think I waited for like 40 minutes to for someone to come past and take this shot.
Awesome patience, mate. That's a
Yeah,
long.
yeah. I waited a long time to actually take this shot.
So were you worried that you're going to lose that light coming under the bridge?
Say?
Were you worried you're going to lose that light, the angle of the light coming through?
Yeah, it was morning, so like there is a lot of the light going. Like it's not gonna go quickly, you know. Like a lot of shots before that one, but I wasn't really 100% happy about them, you know. So yeah, I kept waiting until I got this one. I like this one.
Well, as Team Aspie says here in the comment, it's lucky you didn't blink at that moment. You kept your concentration and you stuck with it, mate. So well done.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cheers.
So we'll move on to the next image for you.
Yeah. So on the same day, this one before, so that was on Anzac Day, the same morning, yeah. Yeah, that was the same morning before the other shot. So like I always saw photos of Anzac Day, and like I didn't know much about it, but I always saw really nice shots of, you know, like people in the uniform, and like, you know, and like the celebration. But I wasn't able, like probably a couple of years I wasn't able to go and shoot there because I was always working. But yeah, that was a lockdown morning, and I really committed. I want to go and see what's happening, and it was actually pretty like was different, you know. Was lockdown, and not a lot of people are allowed to, and was dark when I got there. And yeah, I shot a lot of photos. I took really some nice ones, but yeah, this one, like as you see, the sunrise was really amazing. The colors, the black, you know, and I saw this guy walking the stairs, and I just run. I stand in the middle, and yeah, I stopped this one.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love this one. The
I know-
colors, the building, and the feel of it is just it's bit, you know, it's a bit different.
No, you're going to have to go back to Anzac Day, the next one after lockdown, when it's absolutely packed with people. So you've got the two different experiences to juxtapose against each other.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to.
All right, mate. We'll move on to your next image.
Let's do it. This one. Yeah. So most of my photography, I wasn't driving the first year and a half in Australia. I wasn't driving most of the time. I was on the bus and trains, and that was an advantage for me. I always kept the camera and made life easier, you know, because I was busy taking photos. Like made all these trains and buses and walking made them really easier, yeah, because like I'm taking photos. It's good. And with this one was just a rainy day. I'm not sure which station it was, but somewhere like Collingwood, somewhere around that area. and it was really rainy, and like I was really lucky on that day. Like I didn't have to shoot much, and I got this one. I was really happy, and I actually got like another 5 really good shots from that trip that I was really happy about, just because of the weather. The light was really good, and you notice like even like the mood is a bit different here. And I was actually now during lockdown just like going through the photos, and I saw a lot of changes in the style, like the mood, the colors, and I just noticed like really each photos I was feeling something, and the mood, like I wasn't trying to keep it consistent. I was just trying to keep it intuitive, like however I'm feeling, I'm just getting it in the photo. And yeah, I like that. Like, just this, you can feel in each photo different, with different vibe, different tones.
Yeah. The Maria said loves this one too. So she says she so remembers it at the gallery itself.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And from Team Aspie, Billy, your images in print are absolutely beautiful. They shimmer. They really leap off the wall in the gallery. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Back for you.
Really appreciate it.
We'll move on to your final image from the exhibition.
Yeah.
Sydney Road, that's my guess.
Yeah, that's Sydney Road. This is that was a very early foggy morning. And again, I really like, so this is literally like 1 minute from where I used to work. Was an office on Sydney Road. And I used to go, like, I used to like to start work like 7 a.m. and finish early. So yeah, that was really early, foggy morning, and it's a bit hard because I don't have a zoom lens, so it was a bit hard to get that scale, and like standing in the middle and bit of fog was a bit tricky to get this one. I don't even know if you can feel the fog in it.
Yeah,
that was a very foggy morning, but yeah, also.
Billy, you're on mute. You just click the mute. There we go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I waited also like probably 30 minutes in here, just waiting for the the right centered. Like I really wanted a bike going and get it in the middle, and yeah, I got it.
Hold on. So you're a fisher. Your approach is fishing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this one I really like. I was just looking for that bike in the middle.
Yeah.
And like I just kept walking around and like trying different. I literally, I think I spent like an hour on this. Like I took a few there, but this one, and I actually love this shot. It's one of really my favorites.
Awesome, mate. Well,
Yeah.
Rob says he aspires to be up early enough to take a foggy photo, so kudos to you there. And Mike Reed says digital can often remove a lot of the effect of fog. So, yeah, that might explain why you think it doesn't come across how you exactly saw it at the time.
Yeah.
So if people want to see more of your work, Billy, where can they see it?
Outside of frames.
On Instagram, outside of frames. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll put that in the chat in a minute for everybody to see. So does anyone have any questions I'd like to type into the chat for Billy at this time? No, it looks like we're done there, Billy. So awesome. Thanks for your time, mate. Great set of images.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Or anytime, mate.
Cheers.
So we'll move on to our next ASPI member and SITHOM 2021 exhibitor, Maria Nguyen. Hey, Maria, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, going okay as best we can in these lockdowns.
I reckon.
Yeah. So how about you give us a bit of your journey there, Maria, into up to SITHOM 2021?
Yeah, sure. So it was, and I remember it very vividly. So it was early November. I reckon it was the 1st of November or 2nd of November, 2019. I was so upset, had an epic heartbreak, number one. Number two, absolutely hated my job, resigned on a whim, but luckily I found a job not long after, but still, I was just down in the dumps. And also, thirdly, the one thing that I really loved was, competing in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and training heaps in it. But, when the love turns into more of loving the idea instead, I was like, you know what, that's it. So, I felt at that moment I had nothing, right? Um, I remembered lying down on the couch here, and then when I got up, I found what was looking at me was a $75 camera that my friend like sold to me, some Brazilian jiu-jitsu colleague of mine, because she was going back to Sydney. So yeah, that's when my journey started, and ever since then I've fallen deeper and deeper in love. What about that?
Great story. I love it.
Yeah, so that's exactly how I got into it. I would say my first love is portraits. It still is, but I absolutely love street. I only got into street, started in March 2020. This is just before lockdown. This is 2 weeks before lockdown, right? And I didn't really know what it was. I just went to Flinders Lane, randomly took photos of, say, art. I had no clue. And it was only during lockdown when you get into you deep dive, and I'm sure you guys know, like, some video ticked along and there was Sean Tucker, and then that's what made me really go, wow, there's a lot more to this. And from then on in, it just I remember watching a lot of videos, just seeing a lot of people's interviews and stuff. And then when lockdown ended, that's when I got out there and said, hey, let's do it. So there you go.
Awesome. It's amazing how many people you hear saying that when they started off shooting street, they didn't know it was street. They were just out there shooting and doing what they enjoy, and later on found out that it sort of fit within that street category. So
100%. I had no idea what it was. And then once I discovered many different types of areas, or everyone's different interpretations of it, I thought to myself, do you know what? This is like, it's so multifaceted, and it runs deep. There's so many layers. Bugger it. I want to give it a go. Why not? I want to get shit. If I've shit at the start, do you know what? That means that there's room for improvement.
good attitude. So SITHOM 2021, your first exhibit then, I'm guessing?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. So let's do you want to start sharing your screen and share the stories behind your images?
I'll do that. So I'm going to share my entire screen. Just yell out if I am doing something wrong, what have you. Now let's share this first shot. Can everyone see that?
It's coming up. Yep, I can see it. So yep, it's looking good.
Yep, excellent. Perfect, thank you. Now, this was taken, I remember it was about November. So I think end of October was when lockdown ended. It was like the first stage, not lockdown ended completely, please. And it was in November. I went to the city. I trained in boxing, came back, so I still had the pigtails. And I thought, Joe, I've got to walk my dogs. Now, you know what? I'm going to bring my camera. So I live in Balaclava. And I went into an alley and I saw this because I absolutely love barbershops. Because I'm so, what's that Vancouver dude? Fred Herzog. Yeah?
Yep.
So Fred Herzog, absolutely loved his stuff. He was one of the few people that I came across. And I thought to myself, hey, I'll take a photo here. Then this guy kept walking in the background. I don't know what he was doing. He was a bit suspicious, right? So I went, bugger it. This is going to matchies. So once he walked past, bang, got the shot.
Awesome.
Yeah, so yeah.
I love the stripes all lining through of the T-shirt and lining of the barbershop symbol on the front.
Yeah. Me too. Do you know what? Like, I can't say that. I think at this moment, I was opportunistic. That's all I can say, right? It's not like anything where I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, I'm going to manifest this image or manifest what I'm going to shoot. It just occurred, right place, right time, bang. That's it. Straightforward.
You've summed off straight perfectly right there. So we'll move on to your next image.
Sure. So the next image, stop sharing that for a few seconds. Bit freely. All right, share. Entire screen. Bang. Right. Now the next image is this one here. All right.
Yep.
Can everyone see that one?
Famous place, Kissimmee there in Flinders Lane.
That's correct. Yeah. So I remembered around this time point, I think it was end of February, early March, I took this. Now, it was a Monday night. Now, my purpose was to sort of take photos of people enjoying the nightlife because, and especially dining out, considering the fact that we've been in lockdown, yada, 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 so forth, right? Now, I chose a stupid day, Monday night, because Monday nights are normally, restaurants aren't normally opened, but I thought, heck, I'll do it anyways. Now, I walked past Kasumi. In front of it had like roadworks. I was lucky on that day. I was carrying the Nikon legendary lens that McQueen used for the National Geographic, that woman from Afghanistan. So I was able to bypass all what was in front of me, the road works, what have you, and shoot that. I found my moment. I was waiting, bang. So that's what's behind it. But the inspiration of this night, because I spent 4 hours going up and down Flinders Lane, the inspiration of this night was basically, Melbourne coming to life again, having that buzz, that zing,
Yep.
And I wanted to capture this, yeah.
I love the color tones in that you got through it. It's so cinematic in its style.
So yeah, so when we talk about cinema, I mean, I think when it comes to my images, as of late, like not the one at the barbershop, that's different, but when it comes to a lot of my images, I always have this thing in my mind that I'm telling a story, and say, for instance, in the middle of the story, it pans to, say, the background, what's happening around us. Get it? And that's what I felt this represented. Like, say, for instance, we're talking about, it's a movie about a love story, yeah? And then, say a couple was trying to connect again, meeting in the streets, Flinders Lane, talking about why they didn't connect and why they haven't talked to each other in about 5 years. And then during this time, you pan to different areas, and here's part of it. So there you go.
There we go. Awesome. So we'll move on to your next image, Maria.
Oh, yep, we'll do that.
So while we move on, I've got a question here for you from Sally Coggle. Do you do color work in your processing of images?
Sorry?
Do you do color work in your processing of images?
Color work. So that Kasumi one, that I think what I did was I put the shades down a bit from memory, and then I pulled out the green out of it. So some images I put some color and some I don't. What you'll find is that my digital work, I'll put a bit in terms of grading wise, but with my film work, I just leave it as is. Yeah. All right. So can people see this one?
Yep.
Yeah. So this one was, so I was shooting with, so Kana's my old friend. 7 years ago, we used to train in Muay Thai together and fight on the same shows. Now, we found this together. So she street shoots with me. We were together with someone else as well, and we were in Northcote. So this is Thornbury. This is in Thornbury, Caravan, Beer Yard, that kind of thing. And this was shot on the Portra 800. Yeah, my very first roll, Portra 800, and she was just stuffing around, fooling around, and I went, bang, that's a moment. Because I thought to myself, look at the colors here, right? So I don't know if you guys been to the Thornbury, the Thornbury local, whatever, something like that. It's a bunch of vans and food trucks that are around, right? So when you walk in, immediately at night, there's this like aqua teal light, right? And for me, I thought this was the perfect moment because I felt like the maroon here, just not balanced, or it just complemented the blue, what have you. And also kind of was being a goofball. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
You've got a style with your work.
Sorry?
You got a style, a very distinct style. Like you almost pick your images as yours when I see them.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes. Look, do you know what? Some people say it's like a moody thing. You know what? Like my boss, so my current workplace, my boss, she used to see some stuff and she said something along the lines of Wonka why. I was like, Wonka what? So basically I've lived under a rock and started watching his movies only like recently. And I went, okay, I get it. Yeah. But it's just some people say it's moody. I don't know what it is. I think because of time purposes and so forth, I shoot a lot at night. And also I'm obsessed with polychromatic lights as well as LED lights. I've got a lot of neon signs where I'm at. And yeah, I think I'm obsessed with that kind of thing. I don't know. It just plays out somehow. There you go. Right?
We'll move on to your fourth image.
Yep. A few seconds. Here
All
we go. All right. A few ticks. Here we go. All right, so this, can everyone see this one right now?
Yep.
Yeah. So this was taken on the it's the Ultramax, Kodak Ultramax 400 on the Nikon FE2. And this one again was inspired more so about, say, different shots if it was to be weaved together in a movie, right? Storytelling, right? And I remember this night specifically because I was with Kana again, and I said to her, I go, do you know what? Again, I want to head out there because I want to capture the nightlife, what Melbourne has gone through, and now what they're currently involved in, what they probably don't take for granted, that kind of thing. Now, this was specifically. It was outside RMIT somewhere, so around that situation, sort of Carlton kind of thing. And I just found that moment. And for me, I'm very attracted to aqua or, mint, anything of the sort. That's going to be my ideal car, the Fiat Cinquecento with that color. So I thought, hey, perfect moment. Then when this lady walked past, I went, bang, that's it. So I think when we talk about inspiration, again, it's always shots where I can envision them in between in a movie, in between like a serious moment where you just go cut to the background, then back on the couple. Always themes of love with me, but there you go. Yeah.
So it's the color that you first see and the color that first brings you to a scene?
100%. So that's why, like, when people ask me, would you do black and white? I'm like, you know what? Not at the moment, because my deep gut feeling, and I've just got this powerful attraction to color. And in the past, I didn't know about colors complementing each other or what have you. And now I get a better understanding of that, but I feel like there's still a lot to learn. So for me, it's always about color. Color attracts me. And then it's like as if I build a scene based on the colorful background. I use that, and then I try to build a scene and wait. Yeah.
Awesome. And on the final image, Maria.
Yeah, very interesting. I don't know where it is. What's the final image? I'm going to have to bring it up in the tab, in one of the tabs. I know it's not going to be big, but I just feel like I've lost the other one into the abyss. Now, a few seconds. Here we go. So Glamorama. Yeah, that's right. Can everyone see that? I know that's not large. I'm so sorry.
No, I can see it. I think that should be. Yep.
Yep, sure. So this again, I think this is about March or Feb, around that time period. I wanted to go down to the streets of Fitzroy because that's normally really buzzy. Again, this whole idea of capturing people socializing out there, nightlife, that kind of jazz. And Glamorama, I don't know myself because I was never young enough to go there, but it's a sort of like a nightclub for the young hippie hipsters, who knows. And I thought to myself, hey, here's a moment, because look at this guy. You can see like half of his, well, you can, if you can really zoom in, well, I'm sorry, I haven't really gotten a full screen, but you can see his expressions. You can see at that moment, it's, they're going out of the club and they're pretty much saying, hey, where to next, that kind of thing. So I just thought, I'm obsessed with neon lights. As I mentioned before, like my whole place, it's all lit up with different colors, everything of the sort. And not just that, it does sort of show a scene of the nightlife in Melbourne, Fitzroy particular, and also the types that frequent that area.
Awesome. And if people want to see more of your work, Maria, where can they go?
Yeah, so I've got way too many accounts, kind of ridiculous. But if you do want to see, I think the best account to be in, because I'm not active in the street since, I've got a few rolls of film that's shot in the Bayside of St Kilda, and yet I need to process. But if you want to see a lot of my experimental work as well as street, go to Maria Inc. Corp, like is in, Maria Inc. Corp, short for Incorporated.
No worries. I'll put that up in the chat once we move on in a bit. So Laurie Hill says, very cool images, Maria. She really enjoyed them.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone else have any other questions for Maria? Just type them into the chat. Okay.
Jiu-jitsu may come in handy when you're, okay, Russell, don't even get me started. I've got plenty of stories about times where I've been in a compromising position when I'm out street shooting at night. It's kind of, yeah. We go into it. It's not cool. All right. Yeah.
Team Aspie says also printed up amazingly and jump off the wall, which I can only,
Oh, that's really nice of you to say. I actually thought it was a bit muted. I don't understand the concept because someone said it. You got to say I'm kind of dumb, right? So when someone said, I'm learning. So when someone said, oh, hey, some of the photos look really good printed because it's different from it being posted online. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? But it's a learning curve, and thank you for saying that, and I'll learn from that. But thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah,
absolutely. No, it's been a pleasure to have you along, Maria. I think we've all very much enjoyed listening to your talk and about your journey so far, and look forward to following, your journey ahead.
Cool. Thank you very much. Cheers.
No, thanks for that. So we'll move on now to our third presenter for the evening, and Jane Hinwood. So hi Jane, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
More than welcome. We'll just ask Maria to stop sharing the screen, Maria, so we can pass it on to Jane. Awesome, thanks for that. So your journey, Jane.
All right. First of all, I'll just say thanks, Billy and Maria. That your colour work is fabulous. Really wonderful to have a look at them. I've walked around and around SITHOM and I looked at everything, but I can't remember those ones. So it's good to see them again. And thanks for this forum. I think it's just fantastic to review what we're all doing and to get to know each other. So my story, I don't do any colour. I prefer black and white. So I've had my first camera was my first camera that I bought was an Olympus OM1. It was old at the time, and I taught myself how to use that. It was a beautiful manual camera, and I enjoyed that until film became a little bit harder to get, and I put it down. I did use it during uni. When I went to uni, I studied conservation of cultural material, and we had to process our own photographs. So I learned how to use the darkroom and did black and white photography. So I've had some fun with that. You can certainly lose time in a darkroom. And but as I say, I put my camera down, but I enjoy photography and I work with photography as a conservator. I work on photographs. I work at the State Library. So I've know a bit about the history of photography. In fact, we've got almost the evolution of photography in our collection, so I can research and understand the processes, and I've certainly practiced a few of the non-silver printing processes. And I suppose I really enjoy black and white photography most of all. I'm stuck somewhere mid-century, and that's what I use for inspiration, I suppose. I enjoy Australian photographers like David Moore and Max Trepane, Olive Cotton, those sort of people. And my journey back into photography was when I bought a phone and started realising that you could take really good photos with a mobile phone. And at the time, I joined IGAS Melbourne, and I met a lot of great people I'm still friends with through that group. And explored Melbourne together because I'm not from Melbourne originally, and got into Instagram with that group and decided I needed a camera. I needed to go back I needed more flexibility with a camera, so I went digital. I haven't gone back to film, and I have no great desire to, although I love looking at other people's film work. So,
and was 2021 SITHOM, was that your first SITHOM?
That's my first first time I've printed my own photographs, and the first time I've exhibited them. I only put 2 in, and I'm afraid to say that they're quite old. My style's changed a little bit, but I'll show them here, and I've got a couple of extras as well.
Sure.
So this is one. I tend now to work in the city, as I said, and I go out. Does that look clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I tend to go out in my lunch hour. That's when I shoot. I go out either early in the morning on my way to work or in my lunch hour. I'll often meet up with people and say, let's go shoot for an hour, and you just hope you find something in the lunch hour. And so that works for me. So this one just happened in front of me. I was quite surprised, and I do this. I do like to use the slow shutter, and I do like movement. I go back to that quite often.
Yep. So Maria says she remembers this one, and it's so good.
Oh, that's nice. I looked at this again, and I'm going to try and. Oh, I've got this in PowerPoint. I just need to get it to progress. Oh, yeah. I didn't print it in colour. I've never printed in colour, but it's quite a different photograph in colour. I've gone back there and tried to shoot subsequently, but I've never been as happy as I have been with this one. And the other one, again, a lunch hour shot down in Little Collins Street. And I love it because it looks like I'm in Paris or somewhere else, not just Melbourne. At the time I was doing this, I wasn't very cognizant of film sizes, of film resolution, and I was playing around mostly using JPEG. I've since learned I need to shoot raw and be more disciplined about the way I sort and save my photographs, so that this one isn't a particularly good resolution. I can't do much with it. So they were the only 2 that I submitted. Since then, I've got more involved with ASPI and met some more people and been exposed to different styles and different influences, which has been fantastic. Been on a few walks. I love the walks. This is quite a recent one, and since I've been involved with the Women in the Street and I met Julia Poddington. She's influenced me, shown me that I can do something different with my camera. So I really love this one, shot down into Grave Street, but I didn't choose to use that one for SITHOM. That's quite a recent one. And I just had to include this one. The NGV is very relaxed about taking your camera in these days, and you can get some great shots in there. I think you'll recognise.
Oh, everybody's favourite Melbourne street photographer.
Yes. My partner in crime sometimes. We have great fun going out together. I'm not a lone shooter, I have to say. I do like to go out in company. I feel a little bit safer. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, thanks for the time.
No worries. And if people want to see more of your work, Jane, where can they see
just on Instagram, J Hinwood.
Yep, no worries. I'll put that up in the chat for people in a minute. So Any questions for Jane? Ananda says the monochrome is, of course, classic, but the color is spectacular as well.
Yeah,
Ananda. Yep, Steve Nelly, Little Collins is fantastic, Jane. I don't remember this one from IG. And then some lovely comments. You have Ushi and Angela both saying your work is very lovely.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I have to just have to
No, you've unshared it.
I have. Oh, good. Yep. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks for your support.
No, thanks for your time. It's been great. And we'll move on to our final presenter for the evening, and Susan Brunialdi. I'll just turn over to you, Sue.
Thanks so much, Adrian. Also, thanks so much for your efforts in coordinating these speaker series. They're fantastic, and they're a wonderful way of bringing our community together, of which I'm so grateful for. So thank you so much for everyone's participation as well, for without you, we wouldn't have a community. And I'm also very grateful for our 10th exhibition this year at the Victorian Artists Society, with the largest number of exhibitors to date. So that's a wonderful feat, 10 years of exhibiting at the beautiful Victorian Artists Society. So I'll start off with a little bit about how I came to, I guess, exhibit in Shot in the Heart of Melbourne. So I first visited the exhibition back in 2015. A friend of mine was exhibiting and I was blown away. I think they had one less gallery at that time, perhaps. But it was wall-to-wall images of Melbourne. I feel like the exhibition has probably moved more into a street photography genre than what it was back in 2015. But nonetheless, I was hooked. I loved it. And so I decided to exhibit for the first time myself in 2016. I was very, very new to photography. I only started in photography in 2015. And the experience that I had exhibiting in 2016 was so good that I decided to join the committee at the end of that year, and I've been on the committee ever since. So Emma, if we could share my first image, please. Great. So I've got a few images in this year. There's a submission that's been put in from women street photographers, and this image is part of that submission. This image was taken back in 2019, and it pretty much represents what my street photography is about, or how I came into street photography, really. I feel as though my street photography celebrates daily observations and everyday life. I'm drawn to reds and yellows in the urban landscape, and quite often I get asked if my photography has been set up. One of the things I love about street photography is that it's candid, and every moment I feel is a new moment to capture or to observe. I came into street photography looking at the work of Bresson, and I think one of the things that I really love about his work is that it is the art of observation. And so that's what I try to do when I head out onto the street, just to head out. Typically I go out into Melbourne CBD and I treat it like a blank canvas, and it's like, come at me, similar to what Scott was saying last week. It's, what can I make of this scene? So I'm typically drawn to geometric shapes as well, and in particular I do love triangles and circles, and quite often I can be seen waiting in front of a wall or an interesting scene to do a lot of fishing, basically. That's pretty much my style. On this particular occasion, these are lines that are drawn down along the walk there at the Yarra on South Bank, and I did see a family walking up, and one of the members of the family had on these yellow shoes. So I ran up to these yellow lines and I crouched down and I waited probably for about, not long, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just hoping that this family would walk up past these yellow lines and that I'd capture these yellow shoes resonating against these yellow lines. You can see a triangle in the legs, and I feel that makes the composition stronger. So where am I up to? I've taken a few notes. Thinking about exhibiting in SITHOM 2021, if we could go to the next image, please, Emma. To be honest, when COVID hit, I didn't take my camera out much. And to be honest, I probably really lost my mojo in 2020. I didn't feel... I guess I go into Melbourne CBD because I like the buzz of daily life, and I felt like, well, it was also outside of my 5K zone, but I felt like Melbourne had become a different place to capture my graphic, colourful images. And so what I did do when Melbourne started to open up again is I created, back in 2019, I'd created a digital pinhole camera. And so I took that out to the streets. And so when it came to exhibiting or putting work into SITHOM 2021, I did a lot of toing and froing and spoke to a lot of committee members about exhibiting work that I felt that resonated with me. So this year I entered 2 images for my personal contribution, and that's these 2 images. This first one is called Blurred Vision, and if we could go to the next one, please. And this one is called 2020 Vision. So my images, as you can see, could probably be debated as to whether they're street or not. They're certainly not documentary. They're definitely not photojournalism by any stretch. But to be honest, I decided to take a leap of faith and enter work that reflected on how I felt about 2020, and it was my vision on 2020. So the concept behind these images is that I'm interested in the relationship of time and photography. And it represents for me, in times of COVID and lockdown in 2020, that time, I feel, has taken on a new dimension. It's blurred, days are merging into each other, weeks merged into each other in lockdown number 2 and seem to continue in lockdown number 6. Time has been stretched and yet somehow also compressed. Like, I can't believe we're in September already. And at the same time, I feel as though the Melbourne streets have become almost alien to me in a way. It's not the Melbourne streets that I'd go on quite excited to capture and distill graphic, colourful images. So I wanted to represent what I was feeling in images and exhibit these in SITHOM 2021. So the nature of capturing an image with a pinhole camera, going back to my concepts of the relationship of time and photography, means that when I put a digital pinhole camera up to take a photo, the shutter speed naturally needs to be longer because the hole or the lens on the camera is so small. It's actually smaller than a pinhole. And this image, I think, is probably 2 or 3 seconds long. It's taken in camera. All I've done is convert to black and white. Let's see where my notes are at. Yes, so it means a longer exposure or shutter time. So I'm aiming to capture many moments of time in one image. So to be honest, some images work and some images don't. But I guess that's the joy sometimes of photography.
I think it's a great image. It does capture that feeling of confusion, that can feel that almost dystopian feel of COVID and how we had. I think it works so well. And going through the comments, and I'll let you read them afterwards. But yeah, a lot of people agree and just think the images are just amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that feedback because, like I said, it's not traditional street photography, and I did feel like I was taking a huge leap of faith in exhibiting work that really resonated with me and where I was at.
And that's important, again, that message you get across of work resonating and doing what works for you. And your story about how you sort of felt lost and sort of trying to reconnect with that photography during COVID, I'm sure that there's many people on here who have felt similar way and are definitely connecting with your story and then be able to reflect on their own experience within that. So it's awesome that you shared it with us, Sue.
Oh, thanks very much, Adrian. Appreciate it.
If people want to see more of your work.
Gosh, I'm pretty bad with Insta. I don't post a lot, but I do have Instagram, and it's my first name, second name. So Susan, S-U-S-A-N, Brunialti, all one word. And I do have a website. So susanbrunialti.com.au.
Excellent. And any questions for Sue while we're here? Anyway, Team Aspie says it begs the question, what is traditional street anyway? And I agree that, I think that you're out there on the sheet, you're streeting, and keep pushing those boundaries, keep redefining what street is. And it's exactly what you're trying to do with the pinhole. And I think it's exciting that you did that.
Thanks, mate. It was certainly refreshing, I guess. Like I feel as though I go out on the street with my regular camera and I'm almost compelled to capture my typical street photos, and yet heading out with a pinhole camera, I feel all, I guess, freer in a sense. Like I don't know what I'm going to capture, but I'm just enjoying the process, and I actually feel that has a lot of mental health benefits.
So you got Sally and Maria both asking you, they're curious about a digital pinhole camera and what exactly is this?
Okay. So this is what it is. I did, so what I've done is an old digital camera body. Yeah, can you see that? And because I've never used film for photography, so whilst I know how to create a film pinhole camera, it didn't really interest me going into the darkroom, to be honest. So I tried to work out how I could get a similar effect, but with the more instant, I guess, results of a pinhole of a digital world. And so what I did was, can you say that? I drilled a hole in a lens cap.
Yep.
Yeah, and then on the other side, which might be a bit more difficult to see, I put some gaffer tape. It's all quite black, actually. I put some, maybe on that side you can see the aluminium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a tiny pinhole in that. And then on the other side, it's gaffer taped in on top. And so what I do is basically put that pinhole that I've created onto the front of the camera, and I just turn the camera on.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then pretty much on the back, it just tells me that it's on f-stop 00, and I just go out and shoot. Really, that's it. I put it down to usually 1 second to try and get an image. If it's a cloudy day, it's longer exposures, and I'm just experimenting really all the time with exposure times. You can see the images come back, so if it's too light, too dark, underexposed, overexposed, I'm just adjusting all the time, but just constantly taking photos essentially.
Wow.
Of what I feel, really.
Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. So
thanks.
That's ingenious. So what I'll do now is I'll hand back to Russ. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Adrian. And a big thank you to our presenters for tonight, for your time and giving us the insight into the stories behind these fantastic images. Well, SITHOM 2021, it started on the 29th of July and it's still on the walls of the Victorian Artists Gallery, so Society Gallery. So today's the 7th, so it's coming up to 6 weeks, and I think that makes it the longest running street photography exhibition ever in the history So pat yourselves on the back. You can say that at the next party you go to. Congrats to all. Put it in your CVs. And we're still going. There you go. We are still in lockdown. SITHOM is still on virtually. You can head over to the ASPI website and to check out the exhibition. That will be up maybe for another how many hours?
It'll be up for another month, Russ.
Okay, so we've extended that, so it's up for another month. So yeah, feel free to check that out if you want to revisit some of these images. And of course, you can check out the ASPI YouTube channel for the past episodes of the speaker series. Access that via our website, aspi.com.au. And also, if you have any other questions for us or any ideas for the ASPI team, you can contact us via the contact page on our website. So just to finish up, the speaker series will continue next week. It will revert back to our usual format with the guest speaker, the very talented Melbourne-based photographer Kim Boyd. So that's 8 p.m. next Tuesday on the 14th of September. So keep your eye on the inbox for the link to that one. So that's it for another installment of the special lockdown edition of the ASPI Speaker Series. Thank you for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to get back out on the streets and see you out there in the not too distant future. So thanks everyone. Stay safe and good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.